June 6, 1944. Early morning, the coast of France. Omaha Beach. The sea is gray, the air is cold, and the American soldiers inside the landing craft are silent. Some are praying, some are gripping their rifles tightly. Then the boats move closer to the shore. The ramp drops, and in the very first second, machine gun fire begins. Many soldiers fall before they can even step onto the sand. In real life, Omaha Beach was very close to this kind of nightmare for many American soldiers. But now, we are changing one thing. The men landing on this beach are not only soldiers from 1944. At that exact moment, somehow, a modern Marine platoon of around 40 U.S. Marines arrives at Omaha Beach. No tanks, no helicopters, no fighter jets, no endless ammunition. Only the modern equipment they can carry on their backs. Modern rifles, optics, thermal vision, night vision, small reconnaissance drones, modern radios, body armor, smoke grenades, a limited number of explosives, and modern medical gear. Now the real question is this: could this small modern unit change the fate of thousands of American soldiers on one of the bloodiest landing beaches in history? The modern Marine platoon is not in a single boat. They are split between 4 different landing craft. Each boat carries around 10 modern soldiers. Their goal is not to pile up on one point of the beach, because at Omaha, if you get trapped in one spot, the German machine guns above will cut you down in seconds. That is why, while the boats are still approaching the beach, the platoon leader speaks in short, clear orders. No one is going to play hero. No one is going to run out into the open. First, they will find where the fire is coming from. Then they will open small, safe lines across the beach. Because in this battle, the first goal is not to destroy the German army. The first goal is to buy a few minutes for the American soldiers dying on the sand. The first boat is one of the earliest to reach the shore. While the 1944 soldiers inside wait in fear, the modern Marines do not raise their heads over the ramp. One Marine prepares the small drone in his hands. Normally, flying a drone in an environment like this would seem insane. There is wind, sea, and bullets. But there is no other option. Just before the ramp fully drops, the drone takes off and rises behind the boat. While German soldiers are firing at hundreds of targets below, they do not even notice the tiny object moving above them. Within seconds, the drone shows the beach. The image appears on the small screen in the platoon leader's hands. At that moment, it becomes even clearer why Omaha is so terrifying. The beach is flat and open. There are very few places for soldiers to hide. Above, there are cliffs. Built into those cliffs are concrete positions. Between them are machine gun nests. There are obstacles and minefields placed across the beach. In other words, the American soldiers are coming out of the sea, but they are actually walking directly into the German position's line of fire. As the second boat approaches, one of the modern soldiers keeps a smoke grenade ready. They do not rush out the moment the ramp opens. First, they read the direction of the fire. Then the smoke falls over the water and sand. The Germans are not completely blinded, but their view is broken for a few seconds. The team in the third boat chooses its first target from the drone footage. On the left side, there is a machine gun nest cutting down the soldiers coming out of the boats from an angle. The 1944 soldiers cannot see where that position is, because it feels like bullets are coming from everywhere. But for the modern Marines, the situation is different. Through thermal optics, movement inside the position appears. After a few controlled shots, that machine gun goes silent. This alone does not win the battle, but a small area of the beach suddenly starts to breathe. The fourth boat hits a worse spot. The moment the ramp opens, a mortar shell lands nearby. The explosion shakes the boat. One Marine falls into the water, and his teammate pulls him back up. He survives, but for a few seconds, he cannot breathe. This is where the truth appears. Modern equipment makes you powerful, but it does not make you untouchable. Omaha Beach is still Omaha Beach. The platoon leader knows they cannot clear the entire beach. 40 men cannot capture miles of positions. The goal is not to conquer the beach alone. The goal is to stop the first wave from being completely wiped out. That is why 3 targets are chosen: the machine gun nest hitting the beach the hardest, the observation point directing mortar fire, and the concrete position locking down the advance. One team sets up suppressive fire on the beach. One team pulls the wounded behind the obstacles. One team moves through the smoke toward the cliffs. The drone sends information from above: which position is active, where there is movement, which section has become weak for a short time. All of it is visible. For the 1,944 soldiers, the beach is total chaos. For the modern team, it becomes a terrifying but readable space. The Germans are confused in the first minutes. Some positions lose men, and some machine guns go silent. But this does not last long. The officers above notice that something different is happening in one section of the beach. Fire is shifted toward that point. Mortars begin landing closer. A Marine takes a hit to his chest plate and drops to the ground. The armor saves him, but he cannot move for a few seconds. The drone's battery drops quickly. When one of the Germans notices the small object in the sky and opens fire, the image starts to glitch. The platoon leader sends the drone up one last time and searches for the blind angle of the main concrete position. At the same time, 1944 American soldiers begin moving through the gaps opened by the modern Marines. First a few men, then small groups. No one knows who these men are, but everyone understands that the line they opened gives them a chance to survive. The main position is still firing. It looks like it is buried inside the concrete. It dominates the beach. Every time it fires, soldiers exposed in the open fall to the ground. The modern Marines cannot fully silence this position from a distance. The angle is bad, the concrete is strong, and the ammunition is limited. So a risky decision is made. A small team will approach the base of the cliff behind the smoke, while the Marines on the beach will draw the Germans' attention onto themselves. This advance is not easy. The sand is heavy, the wounded are shouting around them, and new soldiers are trying to get out of the boats. The team that reaches the base of the cliff finds the weak line shown by the drone. The team on the beach increases suppressive fire, but their ammunition is dropping. If this does not end within a few minutes, the modern advantage will begin to collapse. Because even if the technology still works, once the ammunition runs out, all that remains is courage. The Marine carrying the explosive moves forward. The Germans realize something is approaching. Fire from the position intensifies. At the same time, another modern team on the beach silences the small observation point above. The mortar fire does not stop completely, but its accuracy breaks down. Even that makes a huge difference for the soldiers on the beach. Next to the main position, there is no more secrecy. The Germans see them. The modern team on the beach fires back. The interesting thing is that the 1944 soldiers no longer just wait. They begin supporting the modern Marines. Some fire, some pull the wounded. The explosive detonates at the weak point of the position. The concrete is not completely destroyed, but the machine gun line goes silent. The section that could not be crossed just minutes earlier can now be crossed. But the battle is not over. On the right side, another German position still sees a large part of the beach. The modern team's ammunition is at a critical level. The drone is nearly done. There are wounded. The platoon leader knows this will be the final move. The last smoke grenades are thrown, and the smoke creates a brief curtain. When the modern team gets close enough to the position, their final major asset is used. The explosion silences the machine gun line. After a short but intense fight, the position on the right also falls. The result? The beach is not completely cleared. D-Day is still a massive operation, but Omaha's most critical positions have been knocked out much earlier than expected. Fewer casualties are taken among the soldiers landing on the shore. More of them make it past the killing zone. The German defense begins to collapse earlier, and by the end of the day, one small but very important thing has changed. German control over the beach is broken much faster than expected. The truth is this: a modern Marine platoon could not completely erase the horror of Omaha Beach, but we would definitely see the difference made by modern technology and today's military training. So what do you think? Do you think a modern Marine platoon could really change the fate of Omaha Beach? If you have any video requests, do not forget to write them in the comments. I read all of them. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. See you in the next video.